Hey everybody that's coming into the stream, we'll just wait a few more minutes. I've got to wait for some of the construction guys to finish up around this area. And so if you guys hear anything like drills or people talking, then that's just the construction guys outside. We'll just wait a few more minutes and then we can get started with everything. So just chill out. We'll get started very soon, 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, so I think that's about as quiet as we're going to get for this. So let's get started now. All right, welcome guys to the channel. It's been a really long time since I've been here. If there's anything that happens during the stream, just let me know if you can't hear me, or if anything else happens, just let me know what's going on. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if there is a lag. I can say that much. There is some lag between the video and what I'm seeing on YouTube. So yeah, if there's anything that happens, just let me know. Like if the audio cuts out or anything, just let me know and I'll do my best to fix it. But for now, I think I should be all right. Let me check my settings. Yeah, I should be fine. I should be all right. Hang on. Let me just check all of this. So I should be good. Let's get started. We have the RPG series that we're going to finish up today. But what I want to do also is at the end of it, I kind of want to do an AMA. If there's anything that you guys want to ask me about games development or just about anything in general, I'm totally fine answering any questions that you have. So let's get started with this. The last time that we had a look at this project, we were doing the text. And if you are part of the Discord that I have for this channel and my gaming channel as well, then you would know that I haven't been able to really work on this too much. In fact, it's come to a complete stop. The entire series has come to a stop, mainly because I finished all of the bits that I set out to do, and so I figured I'd do like an unscripted bit, and then that just kind of blew way out of proportion. So what I'm going to do today is if we play the game as it is, let it build, we have a character that moves around in our space, and we have a combat scene as well. Now for this, we can click and we can select characters to attack. None of the text currently reflects what we're doing, like which character is selected and who's attacking, who's defending, and all of that. So we get this -4, which means that no one is selected. Let me just move this across. So this -4 means no one, as some of you might know. And what we're going to do today is we're going to add an extra option here in our base UI. And that extra option is, of course, an escape. So some battles you want in your game, in your RPG, to be escapable, and others you don't. So to do that, what we're going to have here actually is we're going to go into our manager object. And in our create event, what we're going to have here, we're going to make a new function. Not a new function, a check. So we're going to have a bool check, and we'll say battle, actually no, even better, is escapable, right? And we're going to set that, we're going to set that to true. We'll make it true. And basically what this is going to hold is whether or not this combat that we have is escapable or not. All right, so if we have, say, a boss battle and it's part of the story, then you can't run away from that. Or maybe there's like some sort of quest that you have to do, then you can't run from that battle either. But for everything else, like fighting rank and file enemies, then those battles tend to be escapable, and that's what this variable is going to be, right? It's going to be true or false. And now for the code, we're going to put this into the button script, and just like what we've been talking about, we're going to create a new function that will basically hold all of the logic for escaping. So very, very quickly, we're gonna write function. I'm gonna write this basic, like the absolute basic, and then we're gonna step it up little by little until we have something that's a little better than what we currently have. So we're gonna have function and escape battle. You can call it whatever function name you want. Just know that it is for escaping the battles and the battle scene. And all we're going to do for now is we're just going to have room, I think it's room go to previous. There it is. Okay, and that's it. that's all it's going to do for now. What we do have to do, however, is we need to go into our assets, and in the rooms, we're going to go into the combat room, and just so that we can see, I'm going to turn off my skills UI and the targeting UI. And if you guys hear anybody in the background, yes, that is, we have construction going on and everything's in Japanese, so don't worry about them. There's nothing that we can do about that. Let's continue on though. And we're going to put in a new button. And this button is just a regular old button. We select it, right? And we can adjust the variables that we have. And we have two variables that we're going to change. The first one is, of course, the label. And we're going to name it escape. Or you can just call it run if you want. That's totally fine too. And of course, for the main function here, what we need is the code that we have. So we called our function escape battle, and whatever you're going to have, you just paste that there, right? Escape battle, just like that. And so once that's all done, once that's in place, you can close out and we can save this. And if we play the game, if we test the game, we can move around the screen, we go in, and we can see now that we have this extra button. It says run. And if we click on it, 100% of the time, we'll go back to the previous screen, right? And then we can go back here, do it all again, run, and now we're back in the overworld again. Okay, so that's the very basic version of our escape mechanic. And so you can run from certain battles. Now, how do you make sure that this escapable is actually being used? Because right now it isn't being used. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this global, and so it doesn't have to be in the manager itself, which is very useful to make it that way. And so instead of just escaping, the first thing that we can do is we can check if global dot is escapable, right? We don't need to write equals true. We don't need to do that because we are already assuming in this statement that it is true. And so we don't need to write, you can write this, right? That's fine. You can do that. It works. But we don't need to do that. This is like the shorthand way of writing is true. And similarly, this, right, the exclamation mark followed by the variable is the same as equals false, right? It's the same thing. They're the exact same lines of code. So something like that. Keep it simple, easy to read. And now we can see, we can set this to be true or false. So if we say, if we make this false, just for the sake of testing, and we put in an extra statement here, right? Else we can write, what else? What can we write here? We can show message. Let's show message. Show message, and we want the message to say can't run away. All right, so something like that. It doesn't have to be anything complex. So if we go into battle, and hopefully if I click this button, it will come up with a message, can't run away. There you go. So we can't run away because the battle is like unavoidable. You can't get away from it. So that's how we implement the escapable function. Now, just for the sake of getting through this tutorial without any issues, I'm going to set that back to true. And there are other ways that we can make this even better, right? So we can make this escapable, and what we can do as well, we can put in a couple of local variables. So let's say, for example, we want if the speed of our allied units is equal to or greater than the speed of the enemies, then we want to be able to escape, right? So let's try to write up a somewhat better escape mechanic. And so we can go with a local variable and player speed. We're going to set that to 0 for now, because I'm going to write 2 new functions for this. And then we're going to make this one enemy speed, I guess. Enemy speed. And we're also going to set this to 0. Okay, so what we're going to do, instead of writing like a whole function here, because we can't exactly do lambdas here in Gamemaker, not natively. We can't do lambda functions or anything like that yet. What we're going to have is we're going to have a function. I'm gonna write 2 functions for you guys, because at least then it'll be a little easier to see. And we'll have get players speed, get players total speed. We'll do that, and has no parameters. Open and close. And here in between, what we're going to do is we'll have a variable, and we'll call this variable return value, and we're going to set that to 0. And so what we're going to do is then we'll run a for loop for var I equals 0. I is less than global dot, I think it's units. I haven't used Gamemaker in a while, actually. It's been, I think, when was the last time that I posted? A long time ago, but that was basically the last time that I was using Gamemaker. So I think it's a DS list. Is it size? I'm getting it mixed up with C#, but yeah, DS list size. And we want global.units. Right, so we're getting the size of the list, and for each one, I plus plus. For each of the units, I want to add the return value, right? So return value, and we're going to have plus, oh no, wait, not yet. Not yet. We need to check the team, right? So for each unit in our units list, we need to check which object is on which team. So we go if global dot units. Now I remember that we need to have accessors. So accessor I dot team is, I believe it's 0 for the allies team, for the players team. And so if the team is 0, we're going to have return value, and we're going to add plus equals global dot units. Set that as I dot current, I think, yeah, current and speed, right? That's what we want to add on, but we're not done yet. After we've looped through all of the units, we then need to go ahead and we need to return value. And that's it. So basically what this function will do is it will read all of the units in our global units. And then if the team of that unit is the player's team, so our team, then it will add the speed, the current speed of that unit to return value. And then we're going to get player's total speed. We can just copy this and paste that here, right? Just like that. In the same way, we need to also get the enemy speed. So we can copy and paste. As much as I don't like copy pasting code, even my own code, I kind of want to do this for this stream. So player's total speed. So instead of players, obviously we need enemy total speed. And of course, because our enemy team is team 1, and I hope I'm getting that right, we're going to return, we're going to check if the team is team 1. And let me check that very quickly. if that is in fact true. Okay, so yeah, here we go. 0 is ally, 1 is enemy, and 2 is a neutral unit. Now we don't have neutral units, so that's fine. We can just set it to 1. And then in the same way, just like what we did before, what we're going to do is get the enemy's total speed, and we're going to paste it there. Oh, we need to call that. So they really are working on the outside. What they're doing actually is they're renovating the entire exterior of this building. This building is really, it's not old, but not everything in Tokyo or in Japan is as new as people say it is. I'll just say that. All right, so we now have these two, right? So player speed and enemy speed, we have that. And what we're going to do now, as a simple way to check, is we're going to say if, I don't know how well this is going to work, but player speed, if it's greater than or equal to enemy speed, then we can do this. And instead of that being out there, we'll put it inside our if check. And then else, so if it doesn't work, right? If the player speed is less than the enemy speed, we are going to show a message, can't run away, right? Let's try this out. Hopefully we can get something out of it. And we have to wait for our turn. Let's run. Hey, we can't run. we can't run away. Okay, so that's fine. And so that's one way that you could potentially check to see if you can get away. There are so many different ways that you can implement an escape check. Another one is as simple as doing a dice roll, actually. So we can say, using player speed, we can say if player speed, I don't know, is greater than 10, just as an example, then we can go to previous, right? We can do this. All right, so we just comment all this out. All right, now that that's commented out, we can check to see if everything works. Blah, blah, run. Okay, we can go in, we can run away, and we can get away like that. So there are so many different ways that you can implement your escape mechanic. It completely depends on what you think works best for your game. So I've shown you a couple of ways that you can do it. There's plenty of other ways. You can do a random dice roll. You can do something of a combination of luck as well as your own stats, your unit stats, but it's completely up to you. Now, how you implement that is, yeah, it's totally up to you how you want to do it, right? Okay, so I just want to check to see if there's anybody in the chat. No one in the chat. Hang on, I need to switch my chat channels. Okay, there we go. Okay, so again, if you guys have anything that you want to share, then that's totally fine. You just ask me directly here, because I don't know what I'm going to be doing after this series. I don't know if I should continue with Gamemaker tutorials in general, mainly because it's not as powerful of an engine compared to the others that are out there, right? You've got Godot engine, which is very good. I haven't fully grasped the engine yet, but I mean, a lot of the stuff in that engine is already really good compared to um, Gamemaker Studio, and this has a lot of improving to do before we can even before I personally can consider it a competitor to Godot engine, let alone Unity or Unreal. So yeah, I'm not really sure if I should continue with doing GameMaker. It is a good engine if you're getting into programming, but once you start stepping up and going into more complex games, even if they're just 2D, there's a lot of stuff that we can't do in GMS that we can do in all the other engines that are out there. Of course, I haven't used all of those engines, so I wouldn't know what's out there. But I mean, let me know what you guys want to see, because honestly, I don't know what engines people use here. I use Unity at work, so naturally Unity would be something that I would be more inclined to do. But then at the same time, if I'm making Unity tutorials and then using Unity at work, it's just I can see it being more like work than like it being something else. But that's why I chose to do GameMaker actually. Sorry, it's a bit dry in here. But yeah, I chose GameMaker because at the time it was the engine that I could not use too much brain power for. Right, I'm being absolutely honest that when I say that is, when it comes to game engines, GMS2 for me is the easiest to pick up and the easiest to put down. So I can step away from it and come back and everything's like, I can remember everything. The problem is that there's a lot of stuff that's missing in GMS. At least from where I stand, there's a lot of stuff missing. So a good example of stuff that's missing in GMS is an event system. So we have the broadcasts, right? So in sprites, if I pull up a sprite here, we can send out a broadcast, right? And that's fine. Like that'll work for most situations. The problem that I have is, if I can find it, and man, they're really doing construction here. The problem is they're tied to the sprites, right? So we kind of need, I kind of want to be able to call an event when I need it, only when I need it, and not based off of the frames of an animation. That's how the broadcast system currently works. And so if we open up a sequence, it's the same thing, right? The broadcasts are still animation dependent. I would like to see a messaging system that doesn't rely on these broadcasts, right? These animations. Another thing that I want to see from GMS is, again, it's an event thing. It's an in-game events system, but one that we can pass parameters with. So for example, one thing that I would do to improve this RPG combat system is to actually have it so that it reads data as it needs it. How do I phrase that better? Okay, so for example, when you click a button, we want to just call out, okay, this is the action that the player wants to do. And so rather than calling a function, or I guess we can call a function, we would just have like a table of actions, and whatever the player or the AI or the manager does, all it has to do is call that list and then say, hey, I need to run this particular script, this action, and then everything else is automated. That's how I would create a turn-based system in Unity, actually. And at work, that's what we're doing right now. But I shouldn't be talking too much about what I'm doing at work because I could get in trouble, because I know that at least one person from my office watches my videos. So I don't want to get in trouble, and I'll just leave it at that. All right, so yeah, if there's anything that you guys want me to do, it doesn't have to be games dev. I'm not sure like the direction that I should go, because one of the things that I've kind of been scratching my head over about this channel in particular, is that I don't get a lot of interaction. I'll put out a tutorial. I'll get a few views for it, which is fine. But I don't get any comments or anybody suggesting new things. So it's really hard for me as a, I guess I'm a creator, a small-time creator, to make something new. So I'm always on the lookout for, you know, new topics to cover. It doesn't have to be GMS. I'm totally flexible with whatever engine you guys throw at me. Heck, it doesn't even have to be games dev. So, you know, just whatever you guys feel like, really. Okay, so this is basically it. Our combat system, this is about as finished as I want to get it, because like I said, our messaging system, or the text system, that's just all over the place. For whatever reason, I can't get it to show the text that I want, and so the selected unit and things like that just gets completely blown out. I have no idea what's going on. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any comments, and if you guys want to see specific content, doesn't have to be GMS too. If you guys want to see a specific tutorial from a specific engine, then just leave them in the comment section below. I will try to do content for my viewers, regardless of what you guys want to see. And hopefully we can move on from here. So thank you guys so much for being part of this series, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.